Hello and welcome to another Adverity Platform guide. In this video, we're going to show you how to configure overwrite options for destinations.
Overwrite options are important when loading data from Adverity into an external database, such as Google BigQuery. They allow you to configure how often data should be updated, when it should be overwritten, and if or how often it should be deleted. This is important to avoid duplicates in your data and to comply with data storage standards. Before configuring overwrite options, you need to know which structures are in place in the storage database, how do you want to save Adverity data in the storage database, how often should data be overwritten, how often should the storage database be updated, does data need to be deleted, and if yes, how often. Once you know what you want to achieve, you can configure the overwrite options to meet your needs. Adverity's overwrite options vary for different destinations because they depend on the available options in the destination you're loading your data into. In this example, let's say we want to load data from a Google Ads data stream into Google BigQuery. Our data stream is already set up, data mapping has been applied, and we have assigned Google BigQuery as our destination. If you want to learn more about how to create a GBQ destination, be sure to check out our platform guide linked in the description below. We can configure the overwrite options by clicking the action menu to the right of the destination in the data stream overview, then click Destination Settings. In the table name field, we can specify the name of the table in the destination we want to load our data into. By default, Adverity creates a separate table for each data stream and names it Data Stream Type, Data Stream ID. In this example, the name would be Google Ads 53. The data stream ID can be found in the data stream URL. If you want tables to be created based on different criteria, you can use placeholders. You can see all the supported options by checking the field description. Using the placeholder scheduled day, for example, would create a table for every day Adverity is scheduled to fetch data and name it accordingly. You can learn more about the supported placeholders in our documentation. Importantly, you can also send data from multiple data streams to a single table in GBQ. This is useful if you want to collect and compare your standardized Adverity data in one central place in your destination. To do this, simply specify the same target table in the table name field for each data stream. Next, we need to specify what should happen to the existing data in the target table when the new data is fetched. By default, the field is set to truncate. But what does this mean? If we select truncate, without also ticking the checkbox to partition by date, all existing data will be replaced in our GBQ table every time we fetch fresh data. For example, on Monday, we loaded the past 7 days worth of data from Adverity into our GBQ table. Then today on Tuesday, we want to load the past 7 days of data into our GBQ table again. In the destination, this means that the old dataset will be deleted and replaced entirely with the new dataset. With this selection, this table will only ever contain the past 7 days of data. If we select truncate and additionally tick the checkbox for partition by date, only data that already exists in the GBQ table will be overwritten when loading new data. Data that hasn't existed up to this point will be added to the bottom of the table as a new row. For example, on Monday, we loaded the past 7 days worth of data from Adverity into our GBQ table. Then on Tuesday, we want to fetch the past 7 days again and want to overwrite the existing values in our destination. This means that the existing data from the past 7 days will be replaced by fresh data in our GBQ table. Data older than that remains in the table, and the data for the new day will be added to the table as an additional row. This allows you to capture data that may have been updated in the last 7 days whilst avoiding duplicates. It's particularly useful if you're working with any attribution windows. Navigating back to the destination settings, we can see that there are 2 other overwrite options. Append means that new data is always added as new rows to the table in our destination. This works nicely if we're fetching and sending static data to GBQ on a daily basis. With this setting, existing data is not overwritten and new data is simply added. If we choose Error, No Action, existing data is not overwritten. If the table we're trying to load our data into already exists in GBQ, our data is not loaded and we'll receive an error message. In this example, we'll use the default settings and select Truncate, as well as selecting the Partition by Date checkbox. Because we selected Partition by Date, we need to specify the date column that we want to use to determine when our GBQ table is overwritten. In this case, we only have one column that contains dates, the day column. Lastly, we can choose whether we want our table to be removed from our destination after a certain number of days. This can be helpful to meet security standards. In this example, we'll just leave it blank and hit Save to the right.
Thanks for watching. That's how you configure overwrite options for destinations. For more information on configuring overwrite options for destinations, be sure to check out the Adverity documentation.